Cole Jones. Your head's not even in the
Mike, she won't be sitting beside you?
I don't know, she's kinda mad at me right now. I think she's mad at me.
That's a great one.
Got no coffee for
Lord, help me. Help me, Lord.
Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes?
Sad part is, all of us are looking at our phone right now.
What?
Yeah, it's live now. Hey, April, Copper Kettle Farms, Mimsy's Garden. Looks like that's all we got in there because mine's registered and there's 0 people in here. That thumbnail was like, the thumbnail was like, no, we're not even gonna see what he's whining about. It probably was like, oh, Jason's alone. Not even going there. All he's gonna do is whine about missing Robin. About how he had to eat the spaghettios out of the can. You like that, do you? You like that, Nancy? That's what I tell everybody. You send me a shirt, I will wear it.
Exactly.
Even if your channel doesn't exist anymore, I still wear these shirts. See, that's just wrong. T-family. Yeah, I've been bullied all day today by 2 tall people making short jokes all day.
Hey, two family.
Maybe I was a little short on us.
We were short with him.
Y'all leave me in your room? I'm over.
You seriously gonna bring me a small coffee cup too?
Yep. Sorry, I got the biggest one I think.
You got my coffee cup?
Nuh-uh. Your coffee cup is there. Oh my God. Not a good idea. Really not. When this knee is hurting. Oh. Y'all got to see my face in your face. That would have been live.
1 million subscribers overnight.
There's the Robin, not Robin, the Robin.
Yep. There's the Robin. Oh my God.
So, we'll give it a few more minutes, let everybody get in there.
Yeah, that's interesting how you, like, you're talking to these people, but everybody on that screen is looking at their phone.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Can you go outside and Well, if we do this like this, flip it.
You're being difficult. Why did I flip it like
I guess
that?
we could have brought a laptop. My laptop hasn't even set it up.
You know what, that's a decent idea. Something like that, but anyway. It's just, it's hard when you're using a phone and you have to,
Oh, wait, you're using what?
a phone. Y'all have to go out and get a cow. No, we did not have to go out and get a cow. No, but.
But our cows are missing.
They're not.
Calf cow saw Kyle with his hose and just left.
We brought a gallon, and there is still some in there. Granted, it's lower than the gallon y'all had long before we got here, but.
Exactly.
Where's Jason the other night? I had to say, well, just how fast can you drink it?
Forget to give you the sticker from me. Or you leave.
Y'all got a sticker on the middle, too.
I'm talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, she wants to
Crystal
put a
wants to
sticker
know what's on your shirt.
The tactical Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, we need the pew.
We need a
need
pew.
Yeah. We
P-E-W.
need the pew.
Well,
It's
that's
carried an
awesome.
AR word for tea.
Nice.
They're not
Exactly.
missing, they're in the freezer, maybe.
Yeah, that's a big old milk glass.
That was one of the first things that we remember with, meeting Kyle, like the very first thing he was telling us about was his milk drinking habits. We're like, no, there's no way. And he came over and bought one of our mugs, and he's like, this is how much milk I drink. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, And he took a picture and showed us like when he got
This
back
one
home.
goes to a gallon in 24 hours by itself.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to quit.
I don't drink milk at
Maybe
all.
I should start drinking milk. Maybe I get a television on, I can actually see your gas can on the top of your phone.
Hey Kyle, got milk? Hey Shay, what's up?
We're leaving in the morning, so I've gotta finish it off.
Kyle was like, hey, can you put gas in the sawmill? I went over to the thing, got the gas, and I'm like, where's it go? He's like, up there. And I'm like, I can't even see the nozzle.
You don't know where the hole is.
You don't want me trying to do that.
That was funny.
And he knew it too, because he stood right there just smiling.
That sounds like you. Little mountain life, what's up?
So,
It's warmed up in here, you feel a little bit warmer?
I feel a little bit better.
Good.
My toes are still cold.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be a couple of days before we thaw out.
I'm gonna be on my way back to Arkansas for my toes thaw. I don't be having that hoot on.
I'm glad we're in separate vehicles.
I'm telling y'all, like that, cause we were talking about our boots, because, Dee and I both have Ariat boots, and we were bragging about how great they were, but then probably about, a little over 3/4 of the way through it, we started both feeling like our feet were getting a little wet, and we were like,
so the girls today processed a few chickens.
did we count? Did we get a
I
final
don't think we ever
count?
did get a count.
And I can't go by like heads and feet, cause some of them I tossed in the bucket
Yeah.
because of the way that.
So did you do the 2 chickens in there once?
No, I'm gonna tell you, like, there is definitely something to be said about when you have a lot of hands, you really have to figure out, like, coordinating everything, and we did not do a good job of that. I'm proud to tell you, we did not, we're not too proud to tell you.
We kind of threw a monkey wrench in the process.
Sometimes you just need to not talk.
They throw a big monkey wrench.
I mean, I don't even think you can call that a monkey wrench, it was like a 20-foot tall
It was a zoo.
oak.
It wasn't a monkey or a wrench, it was the entire zoo.
The full toolbox.
It was the whole Craftsman superstore.
I have a video.
Well, the problem was, it was such a massive tree, and it had to be done in waves. Like, you had to do this part, and then you had to cut this part, cut that part, and then y'all finally got to the part where it was time to, like, hear the tree crack, and it just wouldn't, and it wouldn't, and it wouldn't, and then it started to, and it was really funny, because before you guys said anything about we need to, start paying attention, remember, I had gone over to the other side, and I came over to our side, and I said, guys, they haven't said anything yet, but I'm telling you, that tree's coming this way. And they were like, what? I'm like, it is leaning towards us already. Before they even cut anything, it was already going that way. And they're like, okay. And so we just kind of kept an eye on it. And we really should have just moved it and set up somewhere else, because at the end of the day, because we had the generator, we really could have set up anywhere. We just didn't.
Now, what Robin is talking about is that all the girls today, they processed the chickens while I pretty much just did what I was told, but Kyle was in charge, and we dropped, if you ever been to our place, we have our big garden here, and then we had a small pecan grove with a big honking inch amount of oak tree.
Right
in the center.
Yeah,
But
huge oak tree.
It was 38 inches of the butt cut whenever I measured it, so it would fit on the nail.
38
38
inches.
inches.
That's the diameter.
Yeah.
So holy crap. Like, think of that, y'all. That is a yardstick.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
more than a yardstick.
All right, Josh, y'all be careful, man, and just at least hit me up tomorrow and let me know that you're okay. They're getting, JJ L4 is getting hammered by that snowstorm.
Snowstorm is coming through, yeah. But yeah, so we cut that down, and it was funny, because I went over there, remember I went to go get the picture of the cut and everything, you're like, you can get a little bit closer, and when I was standing back, I was looking at it, and I'm like, where are you guys thinking this is gonna fall? And then But I don't know, there has to be some kind of science to kind of know, like I told Deanna and Tasha, I'm like, I'm feeling like I should have done better in geometry. I'm trying to figure out, like, how tall is that tree and where's it gonna, like, if it was gonna fall, like what you did with the diameter, okay, we know it's gonna be in this swing of things. And the way we were looking at it, I kept saying, I was like, if you were to hit us, it's really gonna be the very tippy top. And they were like, yeah, have you ever been hit with a switch? That's about what it would be.
That wasn't what I was worried about. I was worried about one of those dead limbs up in there snapping off and launching
then
like a
launching.
rocket.
Because we've seen that happen in the one video.
That's what I'm saying. If y'all wanna learn how to cut down trees or do sawmill stuff, y'all need to go on over to Trip H Homestead, go ahead and subscribe, because he's gonna start putting them kind of videos out. Well, I'm just gonna start shooting with a pellet gun. The amount of knowledge that this guy has when it comes to dropping trees. Because look,
And the safety issues.
when I drop a tree, I'm just straight like Marine Corps mindset.
Hey, Farmer Brad.
The tree is standing up. The mission is to get the tree laying down.
That is
So,
it.
as long as nobody dies by the time the tree is on the ground,
And my
mission
house,
complete.
and my house is still intact. That's pretty much
No
all
one
it is.
even bled today cutting trees down.
Nope.
Wasn't
But-
like a truck.
I think if I'd gone a little bit higher and taken those last two limbs off, we would have been able to pull it over the way we wanted.
Yeah.
The tree
But
was leaning
The tree would still
severely.
be up because your wife would have come out
Good point.
and made you come down out of the tree and pack everything up, and y'all would have left, and you'd have got a tongue lashing doll.
So when the tree started to crack and creak, we all had, by that point, we had set up to do our chickens, and we had everything ready, and we were bringing, the water was almost
We had
up.
2 chickens in the cone.
Yeah, they were already dead and waiting. And so then, all of a sudden, the guys are like, hey, y'all keep an eye on that tree because we're kind of worried about it. And we're like, now you tell us? We're getting ready to start butchering. Like, literally had to, getting ready to get the chicken out of the cone and put it in the water.
Oh, I told you to have one person as a designated
There was
father.
no way that was gonna happen, because this one was a nervous wreck, and there was no way we were standing over
And
there.
it's your fault that she was a nervous wreck. You know why?
Why?
Because she watched the videos with you cussing me out when I was dropping trees. So she already knew her husband was in danger, especially if I was in charge of dropping a tree. She was afraid that her husband was gonna, and it was all your fault.
You freaking moron!
Anyway, so, yeah. So, it was stressful.
That's the reason why when we got started, I said, if you don't mind, I think I'm gonna be in charge of cutting the trees and stuff.
Well, but the other,
Because I really like hanging out with y'all, and if I'm not in charge, I don't think my wife's gonna let us come back.
so we,
I don't think I said anything like that. I think you just said, here.
that was all translated. It was implied.
I show up with 300 foot of felon robes, a new chainsaw, and he's like, cheers.
Bingo, bingo.
I ain't breaking your stuff.
Yeah.
Then he proceeds to climb up in the tree.
Yeah.
And I learned more about Kyle than I ever wanted to know.
And intimately too.
Yes. That part wasn't, I had to hold the ladder when he was coming back down.
And I was like, he's gonna poop on me. But he gets up there and he had to throw, and we've got actual footage
Yes.
of it. And this footage will not be edited because it was amazing. We were trying to throw one of his ropes into this 1V. And he's like, are you recording? Are you filming? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you know this is going to take like 6,000 times. I'm like, it's all right. We're on film. He wilt chambers this thing. He does like this NBA hook shot. And it made it on the first shot. He starts cheering up there, almost falls out of the tree because he's happy that he made the shot. I'm like, it's on film.
But we sat there and we're like, okay, we're gonna move everything out of the way. And I'm gonna tell you, them girls, they moved the generator out. Like, they knew there was no time to, like, they moved quick. And they started, Vanessa moved over the generator. They got the grill over there. Like, we moved everything out of the way.
I mean, a couple of seconds.
Yeah, like, it was quick.
Severe.
Yeah,
at that point.
Yeah, and so we
Well, that
kept
was-
hearing it creak and crack, and we're like,
Was that before or after the rope broke the first time?
Sometimes college just don't even talk.
it was after it broke the first time, because you had good tension on it the first, you know, you had
I
good.
told you, don't worry about it, because the rope went underneath the truck, so nobody could really tell that the rope broke.
Yeah.
That's the first or second, this is the first or second time the rope
Oh,
broke.
no, we knew it broke.
Yeah, no, we have film of it, because you see because the rope is like blue and white, you know. Well, first time, I didn't catch it the second time, but I got it the first time, I think you got it. And it just, you see it go across the screen, it's like, and I was like, thanking God that it was, thanking God it wasn't chain. Because Jason typically uses chain and
It wouldn't broke.
come along.
Yeah, chain wouldn't broke.
Well, it has before,
Trust me,
so
go on.
I'm just saying, like, it has before, and so.
Chain, raised ball home from Tractor Supply. But I'm really thankful it wasn't chain the second time it broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go under the truck.
Did it?
That was a guess in Jeremiah.
No, that was funny. I really, that was funny. Then Jeremiah talking about, she just gives me this, I don't care ass, and he started talking on me, and I'm like.
Yeah, just, yeah. So we went ahead and, started moving everything quickly. And then we got everything taken care of, and then it was wait. And then it was wait. And then wait some more. And I'm looking, and I know Deanna and I had a conversation on the way in where I had told her, you know, the frustrating thing is sometimes you have a plan and then something else comes in the way and kind of messes things up. And I was like, it happens all the time. But I was feeling really good about us, we had everything ready to go for the chickens. Like, it was literally waiting on bringing the ice back. We had planned earlier in the week, Deanna and I had planned to have chili so that we could put it in the crock pot, just let it sit so that while we were outside it was cooking and we could come in, eat, that kind of thing. And so then all of a sudden all this crap started happening, and she looks at me and she's like, and then what did you say? You're like, this is all your fault, Robin. And I was like, why? He's like, because
You made a plan, and God started laughing at your plan.
Thought we had to talk about this. You're not God.
Yeah, you didn't hear that part.
It was so funny. So anyway, yeah, there was a lot of laughter, but there's definitely, I was boiling. Like, I know she could tell. I don't know, Tasha was too busy taking the film for, like, she was filming everything.
She was
Like,
filming for the
all
life
about
insurance
filming.
policy.
So what y'all didn't hear, I don't think any of y'all heard this, was Ladessa looked at Lacey and she said, this video, that's so that we can prove to the authorities that we didn't kill our parents.
Proof! That's so funny.
Oh my goodness.
So, and that was really cool that our kids got along. I mean, they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
instantly
Just
became
30
peas in a
seconds
pod, and
Yeah.
it's scary now.
Well, I think that some of the thing is that some of the people that we've had come visit, their kids are usually much younger. And so it's frustrating when they come. A lot of times they get stuck like babysitting, or the kids are just young enough that it's kind of a older brother, younger brother kind of thing. And so you know, it was nice that they're right in, I mean, Lacey's like right in between the two of them in
Or
age,
it's,
and
or it's me.
and so it was kind of, you know, one of those things where they, you know, it was right in the middle, so it was a perfect fit, you know, they all got together really good. So it was cute, so.
And so that was fun. They also have a just sweet, fantastic dog.
I see the paw hanging
Yeah.
off.
Who
They're two fantastic.
has the best manners
He
in
really does.
the world.
Yes, he has an inside voice.
He has an inside voice and an outside voice.
He really does.
And so I wonder how long that took to train, but
Not long, actually.
No.
No, first time he really let out one of those deep
Mhm.
belching barks in the house. I think I had a switch or a stick or a belt or something in my hand, and like, that's not a fly, dude.
So today I was cooking, getting lunch started in the crock pot, and I was sitting in there, and I guess it had been a while since he'd been outside. And so he walked in and kind of looked at what I was doing, and then he went over to the door, and he was like, "Woo." And I was like, "Are you okay, man?" He's like, "Woo." I was like, "You want to go outside?" Woo. So I texted Jason and said, "Is it okay for me to send him out?" And he's like, "Go ahead, go out." So, Big Bear, question: you think shorts are a good way to start my channel? Really looking for subs to get started. That is such a loaded.
no, it's not a loaded question. If you are just starting out,
We've had a lot of discussion about this subject this
Yeah.
weekend.
my answer is yes. Now, if you have a short that just explodes, then turn around and do a full-length video on that short as well. But I think shorts are not going anywhere, okay? Right now they're in the beta stage. So I think for all small channels, and Copper Kettle is the best example of this. She went from like 750 subs. I think she broke 10K like today or yesterday.
Yeah.
And so they can do a lot for your channel. Now, if you're already established, then you have to look in your analytics to see, at least for right now, until you get paid fully for shorts when they come out of the beta stage, it may not be good for you to do shorts. Because right now, the only way that you get if you're monetized, maybe you only get any payment from shorts is if they come from your channel.
Yeah.
So, like with us, when we were putting out shorts, we would send it out through an email notification, or we would put it in
One of our groups.
on one of our groups and stuff like that. We would get paid for those views, but as soon as it hit the short shelf, we're not getting paid for those. And so your CPM should tell you and determine whether or not shorts are good for you. Just hoping to get monetized quick for side cash. You've got to watch your watch time. That watch time is what gets everybody.
Yeah, it's not about, because shorts are not gonna help you with
they're
watch
They're
time.
not going to help you with watch time at all.
I don't know y'all's opinion on it, but if you're trying to do YouTube for side cash, it's a losing battle.
It is. Yeah. You're gonna no, they are only monetized if they come through your channel page. If they're on the short shelf, you do not get paid for them.
You know, now look, if you want to make, in all honesty, side cash from YouTube, I always tell everybody, YouTube should be your stepping stone. You can do YouTube as a business, but it's really not your business. Because at any given point in time, YouTube can close down your channel. For any given reason.
Or they can take your monetization
Or
away.
they can take your monetization away, they can unmonetize videos and stuff like that. But YouTube should be a way to help you get your brand out to be able to grow a business.
Yeah, it's a tool. YouTube is a tool to get you exposure to other things and to get you credibility for other things. So, if you're looking, YouTube is very difficult to make money from. And you end up having to invest in order, like if you really did this and broke it down like how you would do a business, like for instance with my soaps, I have a cost per ounce of everything that I use to make each soap. And then when I put in the recipe, it tells me exactly how much it cost me to make each bar of soap. So I know at the end of the day what my bottom line, what I'm gonna make from each bar. With YouTube, if you were to treat it like a business, you would have to take into account things like your cell phone bill, or your internet, or all of these different things that you need to be able to use the platform of YouTube. And when you start doing all of those expenses, some of those things, it barely even breaks even. Like when we started talking about, like our internet bill is like $100. That's the threshold for getting a check. You know, you have to make at least $100 before you even.
You never should put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
Yep.
At the end of the day, that's it. Hey, you know who that is, Crystal. The most people, like even in my job, the people that are successful are the people that diversify.
Mhm.
If you stay doing one thing your entire thing, you're not going to make nearly as much as if you diversify within your genre.
Mhm.
You know, whatever you're doing. If you diversify, you have more opportunities to make cash. So.
And look at all your big successful YouTube channels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Doug and Stacy, they do speaking events.
Mhm.
They put out cookbooks. They are building a
Learning
Learning
center.
center,
Thank you.
right. Isn't he doing wood stuff, like cutting?
Yeah, he's doing firewood. You know, look at Roots and
They're
Refuge.
also doing the cabin kit. Or
Right,
start
Yeah.
with the cabin kit.
Yeah.
Look at Roots and Refuge. Jess has a book coming out.
right.
They have stickers, they have shirts, they have all of these things where Instagram and YouTube help them start to launch their brand, that they diversified and made it go out and grow even more.
Right, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge that the YouTube is what gave them the exposure to be able to have those things. So they kind of go hand in hand, but I would never look for YouTube to be your cash money that
Your
you're.
sole thing,
Yeah.
because I don't know one single successful YouTube channel, that just does YouTube.
Mhm.
They all, even if you look back to that little 6 or 7 year old kid that just started doing toy reviews, he now has his own line of toys in Walmart. Casey Neistat has his own production company now.
Mhm.
You know, so YouTube is always a stepping
It's a
stone.
stepping stone.
Well,
I love Jonathan. I'm just on YouTube for the friends, as y'all can tell from my last upload date. When was the last upload date?
That's been our best. I mean, we're
Yeah.
we're quite a ways from being monetized yet.
Mhm.
But if you
Go
figure,
subscribe and watch their channel.
please.
Please.
If you break it down with just what we've spent, we're way into that.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sure everybody
And we didn't
is.
buy our first actual camera until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been filming with our cell phones
Yeah.
now for
No, that's,
almost 2 years.
and that's what I'm saying, is like, if you really sat down and tried to figure out, because that was one of the things when we first, started actually consistently getting a check, it was literally coming in the bank account on the 21st, and on the 22nd, we were paying our internet bill.
Yeah.
Because we had to up our internet bill, or internet, just to be able to upload and download here.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, it was negating, I mean, we didn't make anything right
But-
away because it was just barely breaking even.
I see us, maybe not on, when you look at the check account, whether we're positive,
Mhm.
but we've met so many new friends.
Mhm.
I mean, there's
The
not,
benefits of YouTube, it
Oh, yeah,
comes
it's-
a lot more than just
especially
It's not a dollar,
this
yeah.
genre, I guess you could say, or this homesteader community.
Mhm.
I mean, we were looking, or we got ready to head down here, We looked online real quick, well, who's along the way if we have a chance, maybe we can stop and see someone we haven't seen in a year or something.
Right. Mhm.
But you pretty well just throw a
Yeah.
dart at a map and find somebody
Yeah.
that we've at
Yeah.
least talked to through YouTube somewhere.
Look, we have not, would have never been able to reach some of the goals that we have set forth in the last 5 years if it would
You're right,
have
your
been,
whole family, not friends.
Amanda, what's up?
if it wouldn't be for the homesteading community that we met via through YouTube. I would have never been able to do a speaking engagement if it wasn't for YouTube that gave me the reputation with predator control for me able to start to do demonstrations at Homesteaders of America, and then to be a speaker at Homesteaders of America, and now to do the same thing at Homesteading Life. You know, and the shindig, and, you know, we were gonna do the Bayou Bash, but COVID, you know, and all that stuff. And so,
Hey, our apron.
let alone, like, when we announced before the virus hit, our big plans for 2020 was we were done. We were not going to the grocery store for a year, but we were gonna barter. I was kind of a little overwhelmed at how this community, they kind of circled the wagons.
Mm-hmm.
I had people that I haven't talked to in a while said, okay, well, what do you think you may need? Because I'm gonna get it and we'll trade for some squash or something, you know?
I'm gonna tell you, and they're in here. One of the ones that totally warmed my heart, well, there's a couple, but one, they're in here, so I'm gonna tell the story. The Wanderlust Homestead and Mama Mitzi, they would come over to our house, and one of the things that obviously we could not grow enough of to keep up with was Jason loves popcorn. And when we started the journey, it was January, right? So you can't grow popcorn in January. So, Mark, every time they would come over here,
What, 2
he
big
would
bags?
stop and buy 2 bags of popcorn and bring it to the house. And then he would buy candy bars for the girls, chocolate candy bars for the girls to eat.
Yeah.
It was the cutest thing. And then Megan and Patrick, when they came to visit, she called me on the way and she's like, all right, what do you need? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, I heard you talking on one of your lives about how you don't have like ranch dressing and ketchup, you know, those are things you didn't think about. So we did not think about condiments. Like that was not something we had thought of.
Thought about toilet paper.
And so that was, yeah, we were.
We're probably the reason why we went off the shelf. Because a couple of weeks beforehand, when we were getting ready for 2020, we went in and bought a couple of big boxes. We might be the reason.
So
But,
blame it on him.
but you know, she came in, she brought me like 2 things of soy sauce, some ranch dressing, some ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise. Like, she hooked us up. And that was what was surprising, is like everybody was invested in us succeeding, and that was awesome. And then COVID hit, and everybody wanted to squirrel away, which was totally understandable. And so then the idea of being able to barter with people became a little bit harder to do, because we were like, well, I might need this ketchup, you know, and I might not be able to get more ketchup. So that kind of put the...
Everybody that came here always brought something. Like I said.
Yeah, and 2 family, same thing.
But it was like they circled the wagons. And everybody was just as invested in us succeeding in that as we were.
Yeah.
You know, but then when COVID came, we were kind of like, yeah, we're not even going to try.
No.
But we ended up pretty much, I mean, doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Just because the shelves and stuff were empty. There was nothing in the stores, and you were only allowed to go to the stores for a certain amount of time anyway. So it was like, even God was on our side. He was like, I know you might have a weak moment, but I'm going to go ahead and help you out with that. Bam. Pandemic.
Yeah.
We're going to let you inspire the whole world.
I'm gonna tell you.
Thank you, Mama Z.
But we did, we had a really good, it was a decent year. I would say we were probably about 70-ish% successful. We did fairly well. But what really kind of put the nail in it for this year, to kind of really start ramping everything up is we got the cow butcher, and now we're waiting to get the pigs done. Once we get the pigs done, we should be doing really well and it not be as big. It will be more of we want to go to the store versus we have to. So there's a couple of things we learned.
Yes, two family.
There were a couple of things we learned this past year on ways to, approach this year as far as growing stuff, raising stuff, all of that. So hopefully this year will be much more.
So you, at least for us, and I know this whole thing kind of started off with a question about shorts. I think that from YouTube, at least in the homesteading genre, and as long as you're not just arrogant or just ugly to people,
right.
or a bully, because there are certain groups on Facebook where there's certain individuals out there that they they're monetized and they got this medium amount of subs and they think they know everything and they try to bully people and
the thing with, hold on, with my phone real quick, it's because I have it on vibrate. So if anybody's sending me any messages or anything, that's where that noise is coming from.
Oh, okay.
So
It's plugged up.
yeah, it's plugged up and ready to go, so that's good.
And so you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and take care of this right now because I'm not putting up with that in my stuff. Okay?
Yeah.
You just go ahead and do this and boom.
There we go. Whoa, what did you do?
I don't know. On the phone, she should have been.
Scroll back up, maybe. Oh, you did her, maybe?
No, I might have done them twice. How do I undo?
Yeah, we have to keep chasing it. You fat fingered. Hold on, April.
Somebody let her back in, please, if they know I can't do it on my phone. Sorry, April.
We love you, April.
I'm trying to do this. Look, I don't put up with bullying, and I don't put up with coming in and acting like an a-hole. This is my living room. So I just timed you out. You know who you are. Ride out the timeout, come back in it like again, and I'm gonna ban you from my channel. I don't put up with that stuff, not at all. This is a family-friendly chat, family-friendly show.
Well, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't come into somebody's living room and pick a fight with somebody.
You come in my living room like how you were coming in here, especially attacking who you were attacking in there, and I'm gonna punch you in the mouth.
Okay, that's enough. We got it. So I don't know how to figure that out. Anyway, y'all talking, I'm gonna see if I can figure it out.
But, because this is what I'm talking about. The homesteading genre itself is a community. And the community watches out for one another. You come in there and you try to be a bully like that, or you try to think that you're the best thing that's going, people are gonna figure that out real quick, and they're gonna shun you. And the more, because everybody's goal, at least in the homesteading community, seems to be that they want to live a more sustainable lifestyle. They want to get away from the broken food system. They want to be free. But there is not enough time in the day for you to be able to do it completely by yourself. And so you have to rely on one another.
Right.
And especially the way that the culture of the world is, this country is right now, you have to have yourself a group of friends, a group of people that you call family, that you know that beyond a shadow of a doubt has your six. Because at the end of the day, I cannot, in one day's time frame, I can't do all my chores that I need to do, fix infrastructure or build infrastructure, and then still be able to go out and try to cut hay or do this or
Right.
do that. And so life becomes a lot easier. Let alone homeschool your kids,
Right.
take care of yourself, just try to relax. You just don't have it, because at any given point in time in this lifestyle, especially with livestock, you could turn around and all of a sudden you stand nose to nose with one of your cows and you're like, how did you get here?
Yeah.
You know, and it's because you had a windstorm come up through the middle of the night that you didn't know about, and a branch landed on a fence.
Mhm.
You know, and so you've got to surround yourself with people that can help fill gaps where they're at. And I may have a bumper crop of carrots one year, and Dee over here may have a bumper crop of squash, and when my squash just for some reason just bombed. You know, it got this squash beetle or squash bug or whatever it's called.
Boars.
You know, or it got boars.
Yeah.
So, but yet she didn't do very well with carrots. Well, guess what? We can swap. You know, and Lord knows there's times that, you know, storms and stuff come through, tornadoes come through, and all of a sudden you were having a great garden, and then all it takes is one storm.
One freeze.
One storm, and your corn's laid over, you know, everything's just done, just gone.
That happened to us this year.
Yeah, that happened to us too. We
I mean,
that
we had
freeze.
stuff, yeah.
And if it had not been for Shayla over at making lemonade from lemons, we wouldn't have had tomatoes.
Tomatoes, yeah. Mhm.
Our
Yeah.
corn this last year, as soon as we got it in, storm came in, washed
it out.
everything down to one
Yep.
little bitty corner. We had
Yep.
like 40 stalks in a
Yep.
2-foot square.
Well, it happened with us when we put the weed out. We put the weed out, and we
So
See-
funny.
See if you
Wheat.
make fodder out of that weed,
Wheat.
that point.
Seeds and hope.
Yeah. The wheat.
You said weed.
It sounds
I said
like weed. Right, but you
There,
didn't
you did that
enunciate.
time.
There you go. The wheat.
the stuff you make flour out of.
This is a good example. Amanda, she said, I don't have time for chickens. So haulers are raising them for us. We're paying them, of course, but it's still about helping in relationships. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and so you have those types of situations. Sorry, April. I was trying to do something else and Robin bumped me, and so.
It wasn't the gorilla mitts.
Thank God, sometimes you just need to stop talking.
Yeah, you've said that so many times,
And
but
it's
not
not
learned
working.
Don't worry, I'll back your story.
Okay, thank you. True friend.
But yeah, it is definitely one of those things where if you have a good system of people, you know, and a group of people, everybody can help everybody out, you know, and you have a good, and the more you cultivate those relationships, the more you have at your fingertips and people have at their fingertips. So it's like, I know, like you that does the calf. That's funny. But yeah, so, you know, it may be that somebody can't grow carrots. You know, their soil's not good for carrots and they can't do raised beds. So, you know, you may work out with somebody, hey, I can't do carrots. Can you grow some extra carrots for me this year and I'll grow more cucumbers, you know, and swap them out or whatever. It's the same thing I'm seeing it in the community with seeds, because right now, seeds are kind of hard to get your hands on at times because there's, you know, websites are shutting down for a little while to catch up, sanitize, and things like that. And so you're seeing people within the community, like we had reached out and said something about how we didn't have Star of David. And I had somebody reach out to me, and I'm sure he's in here, he's just not saying anything. He's a little lurker, but he, you know, he reached out to me and said, hey, was it Star of David that you said you needed? Yeah, let me look at my collection and see what I got. And then I got an envelope with, you know, 10 or 15 Star of David seeds.
Yeah.
So, you
Well,
know.
I mean, you guys are a prime example of that. You guys met a young man that wanted to start a garden, and you reached out and you got a bunch of seeds for him and a bunch of stuff, and you got guys that are going over there to help him build raised beds. What was that?
What was it supposed to be?
Sometimes you just gotta stop talking, Jason. But you know, you guys organize that, and now this young man's gonna be able to have a garden.
LOL, April. Those of us who pop in here with manners. No, that was a mistake. Samson Farms. Look what the cat drug in. But yeah, so it's definitely nice when you start getting. No, she was called Samson Farms.
That's his nickname.
They call him Troll.
Because he looks like one. Remember the little troll dolls when you would grab them and you go like that? Well, see, he ain't got but like a little bit of hair back here, and so he would do that to him, he would look like a troll.
So anyway.
Ugly as homemade singing, dude. I thought we were gonna try to do the whole Jess Jeremiah thing with the loving touch.
No,
I've been
you
trying,
got
it's
that
not
loving
working.
game.
It wasn't working, so I was like, so anyway. And then, another thing too is, when you need an extra set of hands, like this weekend was pretty awesome, especially today, because, they're coming down to help with the sawmill and get everything done. Chris hopped on and started helping with cutting trees and moving everything.
Dropping
and
planks on my foot.
That was your end of the board.
So you dropped your end of the board. And then, Deanna and Tasha came and, rolled up, we all rolled up our sleeves and we were elbow deep in chicken. And, and it was really, it's really nice when you have that all put together.
Something just dawned on me. You know why we had all them problems out there? Because this one, last night at dinner, started talking smack about doing all the chickens, talking about, we'll be done before y'all will, we'll be done before y'all. I just let it,
They put a monkey wrench in our plan and we still finished before
let it be like water just rolling off a duck's back. This one's like, there ain't no way that can happen.
Well, let's compare board footage to number of chickens.
Oh, sure, no, absolutely. No, I never thought that we would get finished. Now, to be fair though, I didn't realize like every single tree in our front pasture was going to hit the ground this weekend. Like, didn't think that was gonna happen, but.
We were dropping those pecans yesterday, it was pretty rhythmic.
Yeah, and it just.
It just went sideways.
Just that one tree.
Yeah.
One tree.
Yeah.
All the others went perfect.
Pretty quick, yeah.
Even that giant pecan we took down yesterday there wasn't any issue taking it down. It was just big Bertha White Oak out there.
I'm just excited to see some of the projects that come out of some of that wood, because there's some beautiful, beautiful wood out there, so.
There's nothing like using your own wood that comes out of your backyard.
Yeah.
No, it really doesn't, and here's another thing that's really cool is, we have a lot of people that are invested in us as far as, they kind of know us, we're kind of, part of their extended family. So when you start talking about you're making this from a tree on your property, it's like, I have to have one of those. I have to have, and so that always kind of, makes it nice too, because you're sharing a little bit of your property with other people, so that's kind of neat too. My ear is itching. I think I got some tree in it or something. From that big tree that came flying at me while I was. It was so funny because I was dead set that we were because who was it that said, Ladessa? She's like, we're not butchering chickens today. I'm like, the heck you say? I said, we are butchering chickens today? We are butchering chickens today. Mom, I don't think we're going to have time. So they're all over at the porch over here, like way out of distance, so nothing's going to happen. I'm over there by the grill, feeding the fire, like keeping the fire going, so that we can put the water back on and get started as soon as y'all are done. And I was like, y'all are taking too dang long, let's go, come on. And I'm like, feeding the fire, and there was time, and we put the water back on there, and it only needed to come up like, what, 5 degrees or something like that?
Answer like with Linda, explain.
Who is Due West? So that is a friend of ours. Her family grows hemp, pot, whatever it is. I don't know, whatever you use to make CBD, it's a specific type of plant, whatever, a specific variety, I think, of marijuana, hemp, whatever it is. And they make CBD oil, from their plants, and they don't use, everything is hand done. They weed by hand, they harvest by hand, nothing is done outside of that. So that, and they're good friends of ours. And, yeah, I know they're different, I just don't know which one she uses, that's what I'm saying, I don't know what it is that she uses, but it's a full spectrum, I do know this, it's called full spectrum CBD oil, and we use it, for a lot of different stuff, but I make a CBD pain salve that we put that oil in there, and it's pretty effective. It does a pretty good job for me. So, which reminds me, before you leave, you have to get a tin and take it to Shayla for me. So, yeah. I'm too pretty to get demised, he says. I don't have any more.
No, I'm out too. Give me a little oompa cup.
I think I'm more worried about the not having Kahlua. At the bottom.
Okay, like, Linda, just let them know that you came from us, please.
Yeah, if there's a comment section or something, a notes section, if you can let them know, because I don't think she has, like, she's not a big, huge operation or anything, but she definitely, what? Oh. Sorry.
I'm just nailing the coffin all the way close.
Yeah, so Papa Z and Mama Z's Texas Kitchen, they use they use the Due West product. I think Sherry does too, but she's still learning the routine. Mama Z and them, they've been using CBD oil. They just swapped over to Due West, and they've both been very happy
Yeah,
with
they
it.
actually great.
Yeah, they're really happy with it. I think they've actually done their second, like, this is like their second bottle or something like that. Because he uses it like daily, from what I understand. So, I know that it works. It works really well for me. I have arthritis in my hands, and I'm a carpal tunnel person. So a lot of times I'll have a little bit of, my hand will get a little numb on the edge or something when I'm holding my phone for too long.
Well, quit smacking me, you ain't that.
And so I'll
Take
take
the other hand.
Yeah.
No.
But,
She doesn't discriminate.
I'm an equal opportunity smacker. So I'll put it on my hand, and what, we were talking about this, was it this morning? Yeah. So, one of the things that's crazy, even with essential oils, you could probably relate to this, is that it'll work, and you won't realize it's working until it stops working, and then you're like, oh, that didn't work. And then it's been 2 hours since, and since you've used it, so then you go ahead and use it again, and it doesn't work again because it's been 2 hours and it's worn off, right? So it's no different, oils, whether it's CBD oil, essential oils, they're no different than, an aspirin or something like that. They have how long before they're metabolized out of your system. So, but they tend to metabolize a lot quicker than, say an Advil or something like that. An Advil's like, what, 3 or 4 hours before you really kind of get it out of your system.
The first 2 hours is going through your stomach, eating through that plastic coating.
Yeah, right. But yeah.
City Girl Country Heart will
it help with arthritis and sciatica?
I mean, it helps with my arthritis. I don't know about sciatica.
That would be a Sherry question.
Yeah, I would ask, but like I was saying with Sherry has never used CBD before, so she's still having to learn her dosage before she knows whether or not each person's gonna metabolize it differently, so.
And it takes a while to figure that out. Like, one day I just had complete body pain. And I started to spike a fever, and Robin started hitting me with the CBD oil. And she wasn't even nice about it. She was just like punching me in the mouth with it and chipping teeth. And and everything.
One bottle.
One bottle under my tongue.
Might be a little much.
You eat one dropper full.
But it, you know, learning your dosage and what your body can tolerate and what it doesn't metabolize too quickly
Right.
is a trick.
Yeah, you kind of have to kind of figure that out. The lady that we get the oil from, she deals with a lot of pain, back pain, I believe. And I think she told me she takes like 3,000 milligram dropper fulls like at night, every night. And that's her dosage, that's what she needs. And so, but each person is gonna be different. So what she always recommended with us is when you're doing topically, she has a bottle that's like 250, and that's good for like topical, you know, and she said that when you're talking about internal and being able to do things like pain and stuff like that, that's where she kind of bumps up to the higher dosage,
So I want to go around the room and make sure
Everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody. So,
Figure out your finger.
yeah.
So when you point this way to the right, where is it on the screen? It's actually
To
on the
the left
left.
on the screen.
Yeah. So
Okay,
starting.
so to the, go ahead, take over.
Okay, so starting all the way on y'all's left, our right. This is, their channel is Trip H, which Jason likes to call it Triple H, because he's a WWE fan.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I'm a WWE fan from the 90s, the Attitude Era.
Which is,
Triple H.
Triple H was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have Trip H Farm. This is Kyle and Tasha. You know who we are, you know, Robin and Jason.
Oh,
Nice to
I'm
meet
really-
You don't know who we are.
Well, I do know, my mom and dad are actually watching, so I know they probably didn't know who you were.
Oh, there you go.
Hi,
Hello, Mom and Dad.
He's still alive.
He's been texting me, I don't guess you can realize he can.
Terry, if you had come in earlier, you would have seen, if you'd have been here on time, tisk, he had a full glass. If you go back and look, it was full at the beginning of the live.
For like 5 minutes.
Chug,
Because
chug,
we had him talking a lot, so it took about 5 minutes.
So then over on the right-hand side of the screen, we have Chris and Dee, naturally NC, their channel. So, and they've got some exciting stuff coming up. So if you're not checking them out, you need to go ahead because they're about to go on a really fun adventure.
They're about to have a really fun drive home. And I hope they film it all. Now, after said drive home, I don't know if they're still going to be talking about us. But
Well, you just had a similar drive home.
Oh, yeah.
You did.
Yeah, we absolutely
Of course, that was in a rental and not personal vehicle.
look, I am under the complete thing that I think it's a new thing in life that if you don't rent a minivan and get a dog crate and put 4 Nigerian dwarf goats in there and travel half the country, you're missing out.
Don't even talk to me.
Your homestead card for both.
Let me take a quarter off here.
The only thing that beats that is going to be having 2 piglets in the back of your car and traveling 3 states.
So we did, I will, and I'm hoping that I remember which one this is, but we came up with a great idea today, this afternoon, while we were butchering. You know, we have all that water that ends up puddling up right there until we get our permanent station of how we're doing the chickens right now. And you know, we end up with all the water because of the puddling from the plucker and then also from rinsing off the chickens and everything. So what we thought would be a really good idea is to get one of those bags of the pine pellets and pour them out. And then when they expand, you know, as they get wet, they'll expand and turn into sawdust, and we just dump that in, and then it'll be compost anyway. So.
Copper kettle.
Well, down there.
Join Big Bear Nation and never miss another weird selfie of just another kid showing us all.
Another thing you could do is just go get one of those big tubs of sawdust up there and.
Yeah, and well, the only reason with that, it's already sawdust. So with those pellets, they're still
So that
kind
ain't
of
down on
hard
the
when
farm
you
and
first
so on.
start stepping on them. And then by the time, they still have to soak up. And we used to use them a long time ago. When we first started homesteading, we had our first round of a calf. We
That's the best, Amy.
we had to make a stall for this calf to be able to stay warm and all that stuff. And so what they told us, because we were gonna get like pine shavings or something like that, and I went into Tractor Supply or wherever it was, and they were like, you really should just try these, because if you do this and you just barely hose them down a little bit, they'll expand into the shavings and it'll be, good. And one thing that we found that was really great about that, for if you have a calf in a stall, it acts like kitty litter, because it'll clump and you can literally go in with your pitchfork and
We
pull out
use
the
it as
pieces.
cat litter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure,
It works
it's,
fantastic.
and it smells good too, because it's that pine smell. So that was one thing we were thinking, that it would be good, because then we'd be able to throw it out there. It
Oh,
would
everybody
start
thinks
to,
about it afterwards.
well, I mean, some of the best ideas come, and just
Come
like,
as you're going down Interstate 40 and one of your friends hits you up on Marco Polo and you're in the middle of nowhere. You know what, I was just thinking, them goats back there help soak up all of the poo and pee. You should swing by a Tractor Supply or something and get those pine pellets and
well, what I don't understand is you had said you were gonna put bedding down.
Yeah, well,
I mean, but this is also the guy that decided to put the crate in the car on Sunday morning, right before he's getting ready to leave, to figure out that it's not gonna fit in this SUV, so, I mean.
that was Jeremiah.
Okay. I'm just saying. Tell the truth, did Jason do any weird dances today while y'all were visiting?
I know, did he? Cause you were with him most of the day.
I don't think anybody had the energy to do anything today.
No.
Actually, I mean, unless you count running away from a tree that's starting to fall. Now that was comical, because everybody went for the hills. Like,
I think we had been anticipating the fall for so long that when it finally started and we hear run, everybody just kind of went, wait, what?
well, this one, because I'm over there steadily feeding the fire, but I knew that I was far enough away that I wasn't gonna get any major, like the only thing that could have happened is like you were talking about debris where it hit the ground and then came, So all I did was I was just feeding the fire, and then I hear this one, Robin. And I was like,
You should have called her a freaking moron.
I just kind of like walked a little bit faster behind the plugger. I was just like, I'm okay.
Trip Farm, how long have you guys been doing the mobile sawmill service, and what got you into it? That's a really good question.
That is.
Good, very good question.
Yes, we got the sawmill in May. Yeah. I'm looking at her to make sure I
He's
get the right
looking for the
month.
answers.
Yeah.
And then you can look at the.
We got the sawmill in May.
When did you say it was okay for me?
We kind of, right off the bat, got into doing some portable for a couple local people. And been doing it pretty much since then. That's pretty much all I've been doing in the free time. What got us into it is we are hoping to start building a new house. We're looking at some new property. And
In Georgia.
we'll see. Not off the table completely, but
I bet you Dad comments in the comment now.
No way, son.
oh no, he'll let us move it.
Yeah,
He's not gonna let
what's
Lacey
he
move it.
Our boy from down under farm, the boy's just like, yeah, to pay the milk bill.
But, so we're planning on building the house. Now, we were not planning on buying, or I was not thinking I was gonna be able to buy the sawmill we got.
Right.
So,
You got lucky, yeah.
yeah, we got very lucky. We ended up buying a Timber King hydraulic mill, and I was looking at going with a manual mill because they're quite a bit cheaper, but we knew we wanted portable. And a portable manual mill, you gotta roll those logs by hand up a ramp. You imagine that big pecan we put on there
No,
today.
that would never happen.
No, not without a piece of machinery.
Right.
So this mill has the hydraulic arms. We were sitting in the car one day and this mill popped up on,
Ooh.
Uh,
60 acres for sale in Wyoming.
is that close?
It's about an hour from here, or some change.
But,
Far enough away that eventually you may come out and come back.
but so this mill popped up on Facebook and just for fun,
Giggles.
I said, wow, that's a fantastic price for that hydraulic mill. If I wanted to talk to her. And she just kind of sat there a minute and said, let's just do that one. You're going to kill yourself with a manual mill. So, I got to have it.
But I just bought a brand new car.
Yeah.
Yeah, so down under, and Darren, I was wondering
Not
that,
brand new, but new to you.
I saw that his girlfriend is in Georgia, and I'm pretty sure she's like,
You know,
close to
some
there.
of my guy friends just don't know when to stop talking.
No, I really think he's moving.
I know he's moving there. But you've said so many times that you were glad that we're not in Australia because me and Darren are so much alike that you knew you were
This
gonna have
is
to,
very true.
you're gonna have to bail us out of jail.
Yes, this is true. I did say that. I will not.
So there's
deny
going to, I'm gonna have a long conversation tonight, Darren, about when you're moving here.
Yeah, because I noticed, we're starting to reach out past the people that we know into, checking out other, like I check out a lot of people on Instagram that end up being pretty close to us. Yeah, this will be dangerous, mate, yes. Yeah, I'm a little
Imagine-
concerned.
Y'all hear Darren gets here, if by chance we do move out
Oh.
here.
But
We're
it
not
would
that
be-
far away.
But it would be a good setup, like, but see, this is what we're talking about with YouTube, it's not about the paycheck.
No.
It's about being
The
able to
community.
build a community that you can kind of rely on. And
Yeah,
I mean,
because I mean, you think about it, back in the olden days, 1800s and stuff, they had community get-togethers,
mhm.
where they had the fair or the town party
Or the barn raisings.
the barn
Yeah.
raisings. Everybody would pull together. You could you stand up in church because everybody would be in church on Sunday together. And you'd say, hey, you would get your little. Maybe it was Sunday school, or you're waiting for the pastor to get there, and then people would start talking, and you would have hog killings, rat killings, barn raising. You would have all these, coon hunting together, deer hunting together, fishing together, all this kind of stuff would happen. And I think, when this country started separating like that, and we lost that, I think we lost a big chunk of the American spirit,
Oh, without a doubt.
a big chunk of it, and we need to get that back.
Well, and that's what I think is interesting. I'll tell some of my coworkers or some of my customers about things like people coming down for the weekend to help sawmill, to help butcher chickens, and they're like, people still do that? Like, that was something back from the 1800s. Like, people didn't travel to help people out like that. Are you kidding me? I'm like, no, for real. Like, we're gonna butcher chickens and we're gonna make some slabs out of some trees we have.
Yeah, because when you bring 2 hogs, I got 2 hogs, you brought 2 hogs, that's still, it gets done so much faster.
Well, one of, and I don't think he's in here tonight, Jeremy, he, and I'm sad that he's not in here because I saw one of his videos and now I know how to pronounce his channel name, so I wanted to show off that he's not in here. But,
Well, hopefully that's gonna get remedied too, family.
yeah. But he was asking me a couple weeks ago, we had said we were gonna butcher our hogs, and he reached out to me about doing the charcuterie, doing the prosciutto ham. And so he reached out to me, he's like, hey, how did that go? Did everything go okay? Did you need anything? I never heard from you. And I was like, yeah, we ended up not doing it. And we, got to talking about being able to scald it. And he sent me pictures of how they do their scalding and everything. I was like, man, that's a really nice setup. He's like, and this is where this community stuff comes in. He's like, man, I wish I lived closer because I would load it up and we'd be scraping hogs. Like, that's just, and then he would probably do exactly the same thing, would be bring some hogs down and then we'd just do a bunch of them all at one time,
Fishes and,
Fishes and
loves life.
Ha! There he is! Wakatomica is how they say that. I've been butchering it for so long, and he has been so gracious to never correct me on it. So I'm so excited I get to say that. Wakatomica is how he says it.
Okay.
I always say Wakatomica. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yes, for sure.
Gallagher is probably, in my opinion, the best electric fence company.
My opinion too.
Absolutely.
out there. Their chargers, by far, because, some people will say netting is netting, but I honestly believe that, because that other popular one, their vertical ones is a plastic, so it's not charged.
Right.
Gallagher's is not plastic, it's another wire, it's charged. But their solar chargers, by none, outlast anybody else's on the market.
Anything that we've tried.
We've tried this stuff from Tractor Supply, we've tried Premier One, we have tried this, what was the name of that one that you found on the internet? Parmac, they were supposed to be one of the originators.
It was like the original solar charger, and it worked really well, but we put it through the ringer, and that's one thing I want to say is that, maybe if you just have it out in your yard and you're just keeping your little free chickens and you're, doing that, that's not as important. But when you're like running animals and you're picking stuff up and you're moving it and you're putting it in mud and you've got a horrible storm that comes through and all this stuff, Gallagher has been the only one that has been able to take that beating and still give the same charge it did today that it gave a year ago.
Not only the solar chargers, that smart fence setup.
What do you think of that?
What do you think of that?
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And
I
to
mean,
be able to use it on hogs.
Yeah.
That's what I think is great.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
The girls
Yeah.
put an entire new hog field together and then moved the hogs. It took longer to walk the hogs there than it did to
So
put the fence up.
when Dessa brought it out there, I'm like, she's like, what? I was like, what are you doing?
It looks like a fishing
You got
rod.
300 feet of fence and that's just walking with one hand.
I'm putting the
Post
fence
and
up for
everything.
the hogs, and I'm like, for the hogs?
Yeah.
Are you serious? That's not gonna hold hogs in.
Yeah.
She's like, watch. And I'm serious. It's amazing.
See, we can say it all day long because we've been using it, but people will be like, well, they're your sponsors, so you're supposed to say that stuff.
No.
Well,
But these guys got to see it in action. So
well,
we are
that's
not
the first
sponsored
time.
by
it.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen the smart. I've
Yeah.
seen it on videos,
Sure.
but I've never seen the smart fence up close.
Yeah.
Put my hands on.
Yeah.
It. I want it now.
Yeah.
I don't need it at the moment, but I want it.
Yeah, it looks like the crank part it reminds me of when you go deep sea fishing. It's one of those.
Well, one of the
what it
things
looks
that
like.
impressed me on
I
that
can't wait to try.
was the
Yeah.
fact that if one wire is looser than the others, it tensions all of them
Yes.
evenly to the same tension.
Mhm.
So you can turn that crank and it may be tightening the third wire down and not the rest until they all
Until
reach the
they're
same
all
tension.
even. Yeah.
It's an ingenious design.
Yeah.
But their solar chargers, I guess shortly after y'all got them, and we're talking about how good they were, we went and got them. We needed something to fence in the elderberry and the sunflower patch.
Right.
And I found a Gallagher at our local Atwood, and my gosh, that thing will knock you on your butt
Yes,
and
it
6
will.
inches away.
It will.
It
Yeah.
will.
But it is seriously strong enough that I've got a 5-foot tall fence.
Mhm.
There's not a deer in this world that can't clear that without a second thought about it.
Right.
They get hit by that thing one time, and there is a path around that fence to this day.
Mhm.
We haven't turned it on in weeks,
Mhm.
and because nothing's growing right.
Right.
But they still, if we leave the wires down for the gaps, they'll go in,
Right.
but they don't jump the fence. They don't come out, they come out of the gap and around,
Around
they
it.
still will not jump that fence.
Yeah, well, it was like when we moved the hogs. You noticed, we had the fence completely down on like 3 sides.
Yeah, and that
And
boy
they-
wouldn't.
And he
cross
walked
the
right
fence.
up to where the dirt stopped and where the grass was, and he was not, nope.
You
not
had to
gonna-
make him.
Yeah.
Mhm. The only thing that I've found, at least with using the smart fence for the pigs, is you have to, every, maybe once a week, you have to go in and look at the bottom, the bottom row, because when they start to push stuff up, they'll naturally push out, and so they'll push out towards the fence, and it's not like they're trying to ground out the fence, but they will, and then they stop because they see the fence, so they'll push up right to it, and they can bury that bottom line if you're not paying attention and clearing out that bottom line. So we just would every once in a while, we'll turn the fence off real quick,
But if
kick
you're-
out that bottom.
If you're wanting to do cattle or something, you just move the wires up with the wires.
Right, with the cattle, yeah, you do.
In 5 minutes, you can divide a fairly large
Let me tell
pasture.
you, we actually did it one time, and I think we were on a live stream? Or did we, maybe we were just doing polo. We moved our cattle from down there to up here in the dark and set up 2 different paddocks in less than an hour. And most of that time was literally walking the cattle, like trying to get them together in the dark to get them to go.
The only negative with the cows is that longhorn.
Yeah.
Because I guess we got a freak of a longhorn, because he's smart. And he's ornery. He figured it out that he can put his horns on those and not get zapped.
Mhm.
And so he'll put his horn on the wire, come down to a pole and pop
Lift
it
it up.
Pop it up, and then he'll go to the next one and
Pop it
pop it
up.
up, and then
It
it lays
lays
That
down.
down.
He
doesn't
walks
matter
right
what
on
electric
over.
fence you
Yeah.
have.
And then he'll look at you as he's walking across.
Well, and what's really funny
I don't know
is
about dad's horses.
he does that only for certain things. If he can't find shade, because that's one thing when you're doing rotational grazing, if you don't set up where there's a spot for them to have shade,
Especially in Georgia in the summer.
you're not gonna
Right.
keep them in. Like, it's not a physical barrier, it's a psychological. So if the need to be cool is stronger than getting shocked for half a second, they're gonna run through that line every time. So we were still figuring everything out and where we're gonna put everything, and he didn't go far. He literally went on the other side of the fence to the tree line. And he sat in the tree line in the shade and watched his girls grazing out. They were fine, but he apparently was hot. And so he went over to the shade and just sat down and just watched them. And just chewed his cud. We started getting closer over to the girls. He got up, he came over and walked right to the fence and just waited for us to lay it down so he can get back in. We're like, you've got to be kidding me. So, yeah, so, anyway.
I'm definitely gonna suggest that smart fence to my dad, where he's got the cattle, it's a small, like 3 acre.
Well, we do have a link, so if he's gonna get it, give him our
Yeah,
link, so that way we get
They know
credit,
that
they
we,
know that
yeah.
it came from us, it does help us out that way.
Yeah, it does help. Our Amish neighbors tell us, if it won't hold water, it won't hold a goat. We're still, so we did get goat fencing from them. So we're gonna see how that does. So far, it's worked
With the
good
Mean
for the
Girls.
2 that, right, we're gonna try it with the Mean Girls. So far, it's worked good for our 2, but they don't have horns. So they stay away from it and they, respect it. But, we've heard that it can be challenging for goats that have horns for the same reason that the longhorn, can kind of get around that stuff. So we'll have to see.
And that LogOx, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys got exposed to a couple
Yeah,
cool little
cool
tools this
little
weekend.
tools.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, so the LogOx, if you ever
Man.
have to move wood on your property, or pick up,
Whether
for
it's full trees or
firewood.
firewood.
And that's what's crazy, like,
Yeah.
some of the stuff that you guys can pick up with that is and rolling it to put it, prop it up to be able to change.
I was out there yesterday and he had about the longest bench. And he just reached down and
Picked it up.
and I'm like,
Mhm.
Yeah, when
What
you
is
find
that?
the middle and it's
Yeah.
balance, when you found that balance point,
yeah.
When you don't have to bend all the way down or hunker down or anything.
Well, usually,
It's just
you
perfectly,
know,
you
his
just,
back is bent over backwards carrying a big old hunk of wood, and I'm like, you're gonna kill your back.
But I'm telling you, that thing, like, you don't even feel it in your back. When you
No.
pick up that, there's no strain whatsoever. So Darren, the only thing about what he's saying, he's a pregnant La Mancha cleared a 4-foot fence. Of course, a La Mancha can clear a 4-foot fence. They're tall. Like, their
that's the one that the
underbelly.
dinosaurs ate the ears.
Yes.
Yeah, just let it go back.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're tall, so, I mean, I understand how that's gonna happen. That is why a lot of y'all that have been around with us for a long time know Jason and I have been going back and forth about goats. I did not want goats. And so getting the Nigerian dwarf was a compromise, because they're short enough that, you know, a 4-foot fence is a little bit harder to clear, you know, than if you were, say, a La Mancha, where the bottom half of your belly
Like me,
is
I
3
can't
feet.
clear a 4-foot fence with a trampoline.
That's what I'm saying.
So, anyway, well, we better kind of wind this down, because I'm
Well, I
pretty
mean,
sure
I
that
was-
Dee and Chris wanna get on the road if they go catch some bacon. So,
Well, guys, thanks for coming.
put that comment in the chat, not just in the text.
what did
what
he
did he
say?
say?
Good night, Jeremy.
Talking about the horn, for your longhorn, when I said wrap a thin piece of wire around his horns and let him touch it with his head. He'll leave that fence alone then.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
That is a really good idea.
Huh.
That is super good.
If you put that in the chat, everybody knows.
But then everybody gets to know that. That's, we might have to try that.
Simple Jan, Homestead, how you doing?
So, alright, wind us up, baby. Send us home.
And Dad, we have no room.
What do you want?
He wants me to bring him some condoms for smoking. He didn't see how the truck was packed for the drive down.
We have no room,
You don't have any room to see
and it ain't
something?
going in my car.
He said, we'll see.
We might scrap 1 or 2 games out of the bill or something.
There you go.
There you go, you
Yeah.
can do something like that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
She
get
said,
your
we'll
dad,
see.
get your dad something.
Good
Guys,
night, TJ.
thanks for coming in, hanging out with us tonight. Please go check out Trip H Farms and Naturally MC. Go check them out. Those guys they both have great content. Kyle, I'm gonna shoot him with a pellet gun if he doesn't do it, because he has so much knowledge with that sawmill and stuff, that I'm really encouraging him to put sawmill videos and stuff out like that. So if you're interested in any type of sawmill, go check. Why am I getting a love pat? What am I saying wrong?
Nothing, I was just rubbing your back.
Just think we never know if it's just a loving rub or a shut up!
Only do that. we gotta talk about that. But yeah, go check them out. You won't be disappointed. And if you don't, it's a complete 100% money back guarantee.
There you go.
The advice is worth what you pay for it.
There you go.
There you go. So, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Remember to love one another, be kind to one another. It's not as bad as they're trying to make it out to be out there. Be kind to one another. Recycle, reuse, repurpose. Keep things out of the landfill. Give our wildlife a chance. And so, from Robin, I, and everybody else here tonight, we remind you to
No, it's on the wall!
Let's smoke!
Go get
Go
it.
Eagles!
and Robin said no.
You should have told her ahead of time. Do something. I don't know if you're gonna turn it home.
Good night,
night, y'all. God
Good
bless.
night.
I'll see you next time.
You gotta turn it off. You need to go turn it off.
Where's your mouse?
Yeah, right?
The after party has begun.
There you go.
It's the X.
It's the X. Oh.